everyone, Jennifer Maker here. It is a beautiful day to make something fun together. I am always amazed at the things that I can make with my Cricut cutting machine. Of course, you know I love paper crafts, especially making paper flowers and 3D shadow boxes. I also love that I can make so many fun gifts with iron-on vinyl. T-shirts, tote bags, and pillows are some of my favorites. But did you know that you can also iron on stretched canvas, wood, and leather? Honestly, the Cricut has opened up a whole new world of possibilities when it comes to crafting. And you know, I'm always looking for new techniques and project ideas to share with you, especially if it's something that might seem impossible to do or something that you might not think that you can do with your Cricut. Like this. Did you know that you can etch a design on stainless steel with the help of your Cricut? Can you even believe it? It's pretty amazing. Now, this looks hard, but I am going to walk you through the process step by step, and by the end of this tutorial, you will be a pro at etching stainless steel. And you might even have a new hobby, or better yet, something really cool that you can sell or give as a gift. And I've made one really fun design for you, like this one, and I'm going to show you how to make a personalized design from scratch that's just for you. So come with me and I will show you how to etch stainless steel the easy way. So let's take a look at the supplies and tools that we need to etch stainless steel. First, we need a stainless steel tumbler. I found this one on Amazon. It's a 20-ounce tumbler, but you can really use any size so long as the design that you pick fits it. It's important that it be stainless steel like this. You don't want to have any powder coating on your tumbler. Now, to add our design to the tumbler, we will use a ferric chloride solution, which is a non-combustible chemical that can etch metal, including copper, brass, bronze, and steel, which is of course what we're doing today. We're also going to need some baking soda, not baking powder, but baking soda to work with the ferric chloride as well. And since we're working with chemicals, remember safety first. I always recommend personal protective equipment like gloves, an apron, a respirator, and something to protect your eyes. And make sure that you are in a well-ventilated room or work outside when you do this. That's really important. And I know working with chemicals can sound pretty intimidating. I get it, but I promise this is so easy. You can do this. We will also need some permanent vinyl to make our stencil. Any color is fine. I've got black here. It's just a stencil, so whatever you have is fine. Now I'm going to cut the stencil design on my amazing Cricut machine. You can use any Cricut cutting machine for this, even the Joy. In fact, it's a great project for the Joy. Other things to have on hand include a green StandardGrip cutting mat, transfer tape for your vinyl, a weeding tool, a scraper, a brayer, a measuring tape, disposable bowls, some kind of timer, painter's tape, and also some Q-tips and cotton balls. So let me show you where to get my free tumbler designs. I have these two cute ones, and then we'll get started etching our stainless steel. Step 1, get my free tumbler stencil designs. Go to my blog at jennifermaker.com/361 and look for libraries in the red bar at the top. And then either click Get a Password if you don't yet have one, or click Enter the library. You can find the design by searching the page for design number 361, and then click it to download a zip file with SVG files for cutting on a Cricut or another cutting machine, DXF files, and a printable PDF for cutting by hand. I'm going to show you how to cut this on a Cricut cutting machine. First, upload the SVG cut file to Cricut Design Space. If you're not sure how to do this, go to jennifermaker.com/svgs to learn how. This is what my etched stainless steel tumbler stencil design looks like in Cricut Design Space. To start, I'm going to add my initials to the mandala. So click on the text tool over on the left and then select a font from the drop-down menu at the top left of the screen. I'm going to use a font called Left Circle Monogram from the Circle Monogram font that I purchased from fontbundles.net, but feel free to choose any font you like. To find the font, I'm going to type left in the search window and then click on it. If you need any help uploading fonts to Cricut Design Space, just go to jennifermaker.com/fonts to find out how to do it. Now click on the text box on the screen and type in your first initial. Then click on the text tool again and search for Center Circle Monogram from the menu, and then type in your middle initial. And then to add the last initial, you're going to do the same thing as you did before. Click text, and then search for Right Circle Monogram for that font. All right, now we need to move the letters out from under each other by clicking and dragging them into place, lining up them as best as we can. We want our first initial on the left and our last initial in the middle, and our middle initial should be on the right. Position them close together, but not on top of each other. To make these letters completely straight, we're going to select them all by clicking and dragging a box over them. And then once they're all selected, click Align in the drop-down menu at the top of your screen and select Center Vertically. Now all of your letters are centered vertically, but not necessarily evenly distributed, right? So to fix this, we're going to go to Align again, and this time we'll select Distribute Horizontally. And just like that, they're the same distance apart from each other. Once we have them all perfectly aligned the way we want, we're going to click Weld on the lower right-hand side of the screen. This will make the letters all one layer, so they will cut together and they won't lose their alignment with one another. Next, we're going to click on our new monogram design and drag it to the center of the mandala. If you'd like, you can resize it using the resizing handle located on the bottom right of the bounding box. Now we're going to center the initials by clicking on Select All at the top of the screen, and then go to Align and choose Center. If the initials look off-center, click on the canvas to deselect everything, and then select only the initials and use your arrow keys to adjust the letters so they are visually pleasing to you. Once you have your monogram in place, click Select All at the top of the screen, and then select Attach on the lower right side of the screen. This way everything will cut out together as one piece. Next, I'm going to show you how to make your own monogram. First, we need to measure the width of our tumbler so we know how big to make the monogram. Mine measures 3.5 inches wide, so I'm going to make my monogram around 2.25 inches wide. Next, we're going to select the text tool and select a font for the design. I'm going to use Miss Merryweather, which I got from fontbundles.net, but feel free to choose whatever font you want. I do recommend a larger font similar to this if possible. Once you have picked out your font, click on the text box and type the first letter of your last name. Keep in mind that you can use any letters or names you want for your design. I'm just showing you how to do a monogram. Now you want to resize your initial. You can do this two ways. Use the resize handle like we did earlier, or you can go to the top of the screen and type the width in the box under size. Be sure to keep the padlock locked so the letter will maintain the correct proportions. Again, I'm going to make mine around 2.25 inches wide, so that's what I type. Yours might be different depending on the size and type of thing that you're going to etch. Next, we're going to use our text tool again and type out our name. I'm going to use the font Tingler script, also from fontbundles.net. I'm going to drag my name over the top of the initial if it's not already there. Then using the resize handle, I resize the name so that the first and last letters hang about 3/4 inch off the front and back side of the initial. Now we're going to offset our name by using the offset tool. Okay, so now let me show you how to use the offset feature because this is really cool. Select just your name and click Offset at the top of your screen. The blue line around your name is the offset. We can adjust this by using the slider or by entering a number in the box to make it bigger or smaller. I'm going to adjust mine to around 0.125 inches. So I type that into the box and click Apply. This will create a solid black offset the size of the blue outline. Now we will make the magic happen. In the Layers panel, we want to select our new offset layer along with a layer that has our initial or a letter in it. The offset layer should already be grayed out. So hold the Shift key and click on the other layer. With these two layers selected, click Slice at the bottom of the Layers panel. This will separate the letters from the offset shape. Now we just need to clean up the sliced pieces. The easiest way to do this is by going to your layers panel. You should see 4 layers that say slice result. You want to keep the one that looks like your letter with the middle cut out and delete the rest. To do this, hold down the Shift key and select the other 3 slice result layers, the ones that are the cut out middle pieces, and then click delete at the top. How cool is that? I really love this feature. Now that we have our monogram designed, we need to attach the name and the letter together in order for them to be cut out in one piece. To do this, we're going to select them by clicking and dragging our box around them, and then select Attach at the bottom right of the screen. Now we're going to turn our design into a stencil so we can use it for etching. Click on the Shapes menu on the left and choose a square shape. Then adjust the size of the shape to be 1 inch larger than your design. So for mine, since my design is around 3 inches, I'm going to make a 4-inch square. You can use the resize handle to make the square larger, or just type 4 into the width box under size in the top menu. You will notice in the layers panel the square is on the top layer, but we want the design to be on top. So select the square and click Arrange at the top and then choose Move Backward. Now we're going to center our design inside the square, so we click and drag around the design and the square to select both, and then go to Align and select Center. Then click on Attach in the bottom corner, and now you have your stencil ready to go. In this instance, since we're using Attach instead of Slice, because it's simpler and it gets us the results needed. Think of Attach as holding everything in place like a paper clip, and therefore none of its parts move out of alignment, and each individual piece gets cut out. Slice, on the other hand, is more like a cookie cutter. It cuts a hole in the design of the top shape that we're using. So like in baking, this leaves us with extra pieces that we need to delete or discard. If we were to use Slice in this instance, we would have to delete all the extra pieces and then attach or weld our name to the letter as well, which would be more steps than what we need to do here if we just use Attach. All right, I'm going to show you how to cut and apply both designs onto our stainless steel tumblers. So I'm going to change both designs to the same color so they'll cut out on the same mat. But if you're only making one design, you can skip this step. Here's how to make them the same color. You can select both designs or just one of the designs as long as you make it the same color as the other one. And then I'm going to go to the color selection menu at the top. This can be found next to the operation menu, and I'm going to choose black. Okay, now that we have everything prepped and ready, we're going to click Make It at the top right of the screen. Step 2, cut the etched tumbler designs. All right, now we're going to cut out our designs. I'm going to do it on the Cricut Maker, but you can use any Cricut cutting machine for this project, Cricut Explore, Cricut Joy, all of them. Now, if you see the screen, click on Mat, and now I'm going to make some space between my designs by moving one over slightly here on the Prepare screen. This way, when they're finished cutting, I can use my scissors to cut them apart, and that's going to make it easier to weed later. And then click Continue at the bottom right of the screen. Now it's time to select the materials that we're going to use for our mat. I am using black premium vinyl for this mat, so I'm going to select Browse All Materials and click Premium Vinyl, Permanent Glossy, and then click Done. Then I'm going to be sure to give it a little extra pressure by choosing More, and that will give me a cleaner cut. Now put your black vinyl onto your machine mat, shiny side up. Burnish the vinyl to the mat using your brayer tool. Load your machine mat into your Cricut and press the flashing arrow to begin cutting. When it's all done cutting, unload your mat and then flip your mat over onto your work surface and peel the mat away from your vinyl to help prevent it from curling. Once your vinyl is all cut, you'll need to remove the excess vinyl and weed everything. Now, keep in mind that we are making a stencil, so you're going to want to remove the parts that you want to etch. So this is typically the reverse of the way you might want to weed. Step 3, etch your stainless steel tumbler. Now the fun part, it's time to etch. Move your supplies to a well-ventilated room or set up an area outside. You'll want to cover the area that you're going to use with some butcher paper or some sort of protective covering. You'll also need some cotton balls, 2 disposable bowls, one to throw your used cotton balls or vinyl into, and one that you're going to put baking soda into, some isopropyl alcohol, your vinyl stencils, scissors, your ferric chloride, and some transfer tape. Once you're all set up, start by cleaning your tumbler with isopropyl alcohol to remove any dirt, adhesive, or oil. Next, cut a piece of transfer tape about the size or a little larger than your design and remove the backing. Then place the transfer tape on top of the vinyl. I like to use the taco method. So you hold it in the shape of a taco or a U shape, and then put the bottom of your taco onto the middle of your design. And then smooth the tape over the decal from the center outward using the scraper tool. Then burnish it down to make sure the vinyl sticks well to your transfer tape. Gently pull the transfer tape off and the vinyl should come right up with it. If it doesn't, place the transfer tape back down and burnish it again with the scraper tool. Now apply your stencil to your nice clean tumbler. Again, I'm going to use the taco method to apply the vinyl. I rested my tumbler on a roll of painter's tape to keep it from rolling around on my table. Smooth the vinyl down from the center outward using your finger or the scraper tool. Make sure you do your very best to smooth out any bubbles or wrinkles in the vinyl, especially the edge of the cut design. Otherwise, the bubbles can cause bleeding in your design. Of course, this is easier said than done, I know, and sometimes vinyl just doesn't want to cooperate, but just do the best you can do. If the creases won't smooth out all the way, you can use your fingernail or a scraper tool and make sure the part that's closest to the cutout part of the design is sealed off. After you remove your transfer tape and you've made sure your vinyl is securely on your tumbler, we need to make sure to protect the metal on the outside of the vinyl. Now add 2-inch pieces of transfer tape on each side of the design. This way, if you get any ferric chloride on your gloves, you won't get it onto your tumbler. Ferric chloride is corrosive and it will eat right through the painter's tape, but it does not go through vinyl or transfer tape. And that's why we use another piece of transfer tape or vinyl to cover our tumbler while we're working. Once the stencil is secured to the tumbler, it's time to put our personal protective equipment on. For this project, we're using chemicals, specifically ferric chloride, which is an acid, so we need to protect ourselves in case there's any spills. We also want good ventilation because the vapors are harmful. So when I work with chemicals like this, I protect myself from touching or inhaling them by wearing proper personal protective equipment, also called PPE. That means gloves, and I recommend nitrile gloves, a respirator, and an apron over a long sleeve shirt. All right, now that we're properly protected, let's start etching. First, you need to open the ferric chloride and remove the seal. Next, take a few cotton balls and place them up against the ferric chloride opening, and then tip the bottle over so the solution goes right into the cotton balls. Do not get them super saturated. Too much solution on the cotton balls will cause runoff when pressed on the tumbler. You can use Q-tips for this too. Now take your cotton balls and dab the solution onto the stencil, making sure to get every detail covered. Apply the solution evenly and leave for a minute or two. Then apply another coat using new cotton balls. Continue doing this for a total of 10 minutes. So I recommend 3 to 4 coats of ferric chloride. Once you've finished putting your coats on, pour baking soda on the design to neutralize the acid. I recommend pouring it over a bowl so the baking soda is contained and falls right back into that bowl. Next, rub the baking soda into the design on your tumbler with your fingers very thoroughly, making sure to get into every corner and crevice. Repeat this a few times. Now brush off the excess baking soda with your fingers or tip your tumbler right side up and let the baking soda fall right off. Once most of the baking soda is gone, remove the vinyl using your weeding tool. And in case you're worried about the sharp tip of the weeding tool damaging your tumbler, you're not alone. I was also worried about this, but I'm happy to report that everything turned out fine. There wasn't even a scratch. Once you have your vinyl stencil off, immediately wash off the tumbler using dish soap and water. If the design looks rusty, rub more baking soda onto the design until all of the acid is neutralized. I used Dawn dish soap and rinsed it off in the sink because the acid has been combined with the baking soda and it is now neutralized. Even so, I would not wash the tumbler in a sink if there's any dishes in the sink, just to be on the safe side. You can also rinse your tumbler off with a hose outside. Do not just use a wet rag to wash the baking soda away. This causes some of the solution to stay on the tumbler and it will leave a stain. So you really do want to rinse it well. Now you have an awesome personalized tumbler. These make great gifts for family and friends. Now, I want to be sure that you know that these tumblers should be washed by hand to keep them looking their best. There are so many options for designs. You can add a favorite sports team, company logo, favorite hobby, or a saying. Keep in mind, the simpler the design, the better the tumbler will turn out for this particular technique. And you can use this technique to etch other things that are stainless steel or brass or copper too. All you need is a stencil and something to etch, like spoons, knives, plates, and more. Now, it's very important that you handle ferric chloride safely. When you're finished with your project, store your container somewhere safe and out of the reach of children. And do not put straight ferric chloride down the drain, as it's both corrosive to pipes and toxic to marine life. If you ever need to dispose of your solution, first neutralize it with baking soda, also known as sodium bicarbonate, and then you can dilute it down with water so it's harmless. Okay, now if you have any questions at all about etching tumblers that I didn't cover in this video or anything craft related that I can help you with, please let me know. Leave a comment below this video or come ask over in our Cricut Crafters group at jennifermaker.com/Cricut Crafters. I love helping you and I love to see your photos of your finished projects. And that's it for today. Until next time, this is Jennifer Maker reminding you to craft a life you love.